we'll basically discuss about just a reflection and a recap on what we've done so far. This is important because we are going to be rounding up on the work factor of the growth journey. And what this means is we want to do just a quick overview of everything we've discussed. So I've come up with about 15 different lessons just to give a quick summary of important lessons I've explained to you on this growth and development journey. The first set of lessons has to do with the goal setting and what we discussed yesterday about customer centricity and then how to build your team. Talking about setting smart goals, remember I mentioned to you, you need to learn how to set both short and long-term goals, objectives, and using SMART tool as one of the main technique. I mean, it's the simplest technique you can use setting your goals. There are other tools and there are other techniques, but the one I recommended for you, which you can use for your personal goals or your business goals, is a SMART goal, that framework. And remember, you did assignments on it. So if you have not submitted your assignments, make sure you go and do it and submit. So what SMART goals will help you to do is to have a defined focus by which you want to, plan your pursuit, plan your endeavor. So don't set out until you have set your goals. That's the key lesson. So goal precedes your journey. It's like what you take onto the planning table, the brief, the scope that you take onto your planning table is what your goals are all about, the set goals are all about. Then the second thing is about customer centricity. You must always set as a basic principle for yourself and also for your business that customer will always come first. So customers are vital. Customers' needs are your priority, and satisfying their needs is a preoccupation of your operation in delivering value. So how you solve their problems and how you meet their basic needs and requirements is what you are going to continually refine as your journey entails. So whatever business, whatever venture you want to, delve into, make sure customer centricity is part of your key values and the objectives of the organization. And of course, your personal life as well, as interact with people and engage with people. As long as you have value alignment and you have, compliance with your strict core beliefs, make sure you live to meet expectations. People always have expectations. Make sure you always live to meet expectations that does not violate your values and your personal beliefs. And respect is mutual. Respect is highly mutual. Okay, the third one talks about building strong team. You remember we discussed also about this in the first week because you need a team and a winning team for that matter for you to be able to achieve your purpose. Whatever it is you want to do, you need a very strong team. And there was an assignment given on this, which entails you building an agile team using Dr. Bruce Stockman's model of team development. So you need to go and refresh your mind about this if you have forgotten. And if you have not done the assignment, make sure you lay your hands on it and do it and submit. Your team becomes your greatest asset. And when you are developing or building your team, part of what you need to look for are skill sets, cultural alignment, and the potential that these people have. So the CR questions you are going to ask has to be focused on these key areas. You want to also determine their passion and whether they are purpose driven. Everything is all about money. It's not just about the remuneration. You can pay people to work. You can pay people to work for their job, but you cannot pay people commensurate to how they allow their purpose to drive them. So that's why you need to ensure you onboard people that are driven by purpose. Then the fourth one has to do with value. Has to do with value. Never compromise on your value system. Your core beliefs are critical to developing, high conviction and deep convictions that will make you to go far in achieving your goals. Even when all odds are against you, when you have deep convictions, you keep going. You never give up. You will never relent in your pursuits. So make sure you focus on your value. Excuse me. And in business, when we are talking about value proposition, we are talking about the uniqueness of your business, your unique selling points, your unique selling proposition. That must be a major highlight of your communication. And when you communicate your unique selling points, make sure you communicate it clearly, unambiguously, so that whatever it is that people want to place would then be a premium. So don't put your remuneration, your product pricing ahead of your unique selling proposition. Let people understand the value they will derive in relating with your products, in interacting with you. So let your disposition, first of all, be what value you are to offer or what benefit people will derive from you and from your products. The fifth one talks about not being afraid of failure. You need to learn from failure. You have made attempts, and that's what I see failure, not guessing it when you attempt. And there's no crime in attempting. So failure is a learning curve. It's part of the learning curve. It's a learning opportunity that you need to constantly seize. You have to be audacious. You have to be bold and courageous in making attempts at all times. So look at the situation, look at the opportunity critically, and then if it aligns with your goals and your objectives, you need to seize the opportunity, even if you are not fully prepared, because sometimes opportunity may not meet you prepared, but that is not an excuse not to seize the opportunity, singularly because you need to learn and build experience on your profile. So whatever it is that may result into a failed attempt, make sure you analyze it, learn the lessons, if possible, document the lessons learned for subsequent access to historical data. And then when you move on to the next project or to the next event or endeavor, make sure you pull that lessons learned document out and use as part of your input in making informed decision on how you're going to navigate to succeed on the new endeavor. Then the sixth one talks about how you build structures, systems, processes, and adopt workable frameworks that will ascertain your wins. This largely is going to define the scale at which you are going to grow. So your growth scale is very, very important. Your growth scale is very, very important. And nobody will grow beyond the structure he or she has created for himself or herself. Part of the structure has to do with your commitment to lifelong learning, which I'll still mention as part of the key takeaways or the key points of things that we've learned. So your structures are very important. And these also speak to how you restructure when necessary. When you look at things, because it's only a fool that will keep doing the same thing the same way and expect a different result over the years, or how long you have been doing repetitive actions and taking, every year in, year out, you make resolutions, you do things, nothing changed. different results or poor results, failed outcome, failed attempts, is a pointer that you need to overhaul your structure, recreate your system, and redefine new processes. So this will refine the quality of your success, even if you are not going to fully achieve whatever it is you are aiming to achieve. You will have learned new ways of working. You will have adopted, the growth mentality. So don't be afraid to pull down structures that is not working for you to be able to give into new structure that will work. And trust me, as you learn and commit to lifelong learning, you will always see the need to improve on your structures, the systems, your processes. In fact, as it is personally, I cannot function in an organization, a project, in an environment where there is no structure. At worst, I will help to build the structure. And this is part of what leadership means. This is part of what governance is all about. Building structure, systems, processes that will enable growth and facilitate, the achievement of development. So these are part of the things that we've discussed about. So moving on to the seventh one, I said I'm giving you about 15 key lessons that we've discussed on. So the seventh one talked about your skill in adapting to change. Change is inevitable, is the key that is constant in life, is the constant element, the constant variable in life. Whereas every other thing may seem unprogressive, but change is always progressive. So how then do you respond? How then do you react? How then do you manage change? We talked about you developing adaptability skills. You have to be agile. This is very, very important. How you adapt to thrive in all situations, albeit palatable or unpalatable, is very, very key. One of the easy ways I pointed to you by which you can adapt to changes is when you are well informed, when you seek information, understand market trends, know the new happenings, the current news in the industry, right? It will help you to know areas where you need to adjust. You do structural adjustments, and then you can take on new knowledge, what we call the new normal, learning ways of working. So these are part of the things. And you also need to be creative and innovative in developing new strategies, because this is going to help you push necessarily towards ensuring you achieve your goals and succeed. Where every other person is quitting from business, it opens more opportunity for you to take over. Each time I hear in our industry that people are relocating, I'm always happy because I know that it's opened more opportunity for me. It's like someone staying away from the client is an opportunity for us who remain in the market to take on those clients. I mean, is an adaptability mindset. So whatever it is, you remain in the market, you remain relevant in the industry, and you keep pushing up to new, defining new levels and new success paradigms. That's what adaptability means. Then the eighth one is you taking full advantage of technology. Technology and new innovations in the industry where you function has its positives and negatives. Many a times people try to downplay the positives and emphasize on the negative. Don't be part of such people. Even though you may have the cons, but make sure you embrace the pros, whatever it is that will support your growth in terms of technological advancement is what you should embrace. Those tools, those techniques, artificial intelligence, the softwares, you know, even hardwares. You see the way evolution is happening to technological hardwares. Don't be lost in the fact that you don't want to change and follow the trends of technology. Maybe you are still using old school tools, Pentium 3. I'm sure you can assimilate this. The time when we're using Pentium 2, Pentium 1, when the floppy disks of external drive or hard drive, you know, you see a 1.44 MB. I remember vividly the first floppy disks I used, learning computer in primary school, or was it secondary school, is 1.44 MB floppy disk. Very, very flexible, and it has a control on the side where if you want to see the content of the data in it, you switch it on and then switch it down off. But see the evolution that's happened in external storage of information in computing. We've moved from even having physical hard drives to cloud system where you can store information. These are all the things you need to embrace, and leverage on artificial intelligence and the advancement. Now that we even have the level of deep learning, machine learning and deep learning. So these are all the things that you need to embrace. And on a daily basis, observe and obtain information on new developments so that you can streamline that into your life and the way you organize your business endeavors and business operation. Then the ninth one talks about your foresight, talks about how you are able to see into the future on the short term, medium term, and the long term. More importantly, is how you see into the future. If you are going to succeed in life, you need to always see ahead of everybody. Always, always. You can't afford to live on a subsistence basis, on a temporary basis, on now. You can't afford that. You need to be able to see deep into the future and embrace new realities. Just imagine what would life look like by 2030. That's on a medium term, 5 years. What's life going to look like in 10 years' time? And in governance, you see a serious leader who is a visionary leader, has inclination towards the future. And that's why we talked about emphasis on sustainability now. We are solving the current problem, and you want to ensure that whatever solution we are implementing now is not going to affect the future generation to develop their own capacity to be able to solve their own problem. So you must have that inclination on the future. So whatever you are creating as your business plan, the problems you want to launch into the market, how you live your life on a daily basis, your choices, all of these things should have, the future insights. You should include insight about the future in all of these things so that your focus will not just only be on the present, or you will not dwell on the past, but you are also going to be futuristic in your mindset. And not necessarily because you are daydreaming or you are thinking utopian, but you are just taking good care about sustainability. Then the 10th one talks about branding. Aha, this is where we talked about how you develop your personal image, how you promote your identity. First of all, it starts from self-awareness. Okay. If you as an individual, you are not self-aware, it will be very difficult for you to create a proper brand for your company. And that's why we conducted series of personal assessment tests in order for you to know yourself for who you are. And I gave you an assignment on the book, which you are going to review and submit by next week. So be reminded, the book review is due for submission early next week. So, and that's the book by Tim Lally, Why You Hack the Way You Do. So if you have not started reading it, you're wrong. Make sure you pick it up now and begin the reading. So you need to know yourself and then develop the kind of brand that you want to be associated with you, how you want to be represented, the kind of public image, and the way you want the public to relate with you. It's also good to be unique because branding speaks to uniqueness. You see that your USP that you've defined for your product or for yourself, your unique selling proposition that makes you stand out of the entire market chain. You need to find a way to promote it. Okay. Having a compelling story, short phrase, for me, I told you in the past is about spices, and now I'm more or less narrowing that spices more to just a word, which has to do with transformation. Okay, so you need to have these things, and it will always reflect. It will always reflect in the way you think, That's your growth mindset. In the way you articulate what you are thinking, which is your effective communication. And of course, the way you act, or the way your your actions, your attitude is being represented in terms of impact. Okay. So all of these things are going to be part of what will resonate and affirm your success and achievement of your goal. Okay. And you need to be consistent in the way you communicate your brand. You don't do something today and tomorrow. Like, I love creativity, I love innovations, I love pictures, I love colors. So everything I do must have a touch of all these things. If it doesn't have the touch, it's not going to be me. So all these things you need to know when you are self-aware. Okay, you have to be self-aware, and you have to be intentional about the way you present all these things across board, both from personal perspective, your personal branding, and your business enterprises or ventures in terms of your business branding. The 11th one talks about the starting points. Okay, how then do you begin? I think 2 days or 3 days ago, when we started, no, on Monday, when we started talking, last Monday, when we started talking about, your starting point, it's important that you start from the very point where you are known. Okay. You start from your known points, which is usually the small points. It's just like when you look at an iceberg on a high sea. Okay. The iceberg that collapsed Titanic ship in, I think, 1920 something. When you see the image, it's given that just 33%, one third of the size of the iceberg is what is visible. Okay, is what is visible above the sea level. Underneath the sea level, invisible to high and human perspective, of course, to the captain that is controlling the rudder, the ship, is the two-third, about 66 or 67%. This is exactly what potential lies in each of our business ideas, in all ideas or every solution. So you don't want to be a perfectionist before you take the first bold step towards achieving your idea, turning the idea into reality. It always starts with a small step. And there is this saying, I think is a Chinese saying, that every storm you see in the water starts with a drop of water. Oceans start with a drop of water, just like it is just a tree. Okay, it is just a tree that you plant that begins to make a huge forest, even though just one tree cannot make a forest, but one tree is what starts the process of having a forest. So it's important, just like it takes one man, Adam, to begin the world. Now we have 8 billion people that came forth from Adam. So whatever it is that you want to see as the big picture of your life, the big picture of your purpose, of your dream, the big picture of your business idea, it always starts with one small part of the puzzle. So you need to begin with that, because that is known. And then you begin to build with resilience and with grit and conviction, deep conviction in your level of determination, for you to be able to take the subsequent bold steps in improving as you progress. So make sure that you start small and you keep your growth mindset in order for you to continue to see the big picture. So start small, think big at all times. It's going to hand you in success. Then the 12th one talks about learning how to say no. This is very, very important, because you need to create restraint, constraints, barriers, boundaries around yourself, because every opportunity, we always say that not all that glitter is gold. So how then do you know what gold really is? You need to understand the process of refining, which is not just on the surface value. Okay, you need to commit to the depth of the mining process that brings about the refinement and the purification of gold. Gold is not something that appears in natural states. It goes through a process. So the same thing, every success, from tomorrow, when we begin to look at the T factor, you begin to see, starting from how we would define success, everything that is called success in life begins with an action, and of course goes through a process. Okay, so it's not something that you just, and because it goes through a process, you will take a lot of decision along the way. So part of the decision we are going to make has to do with learning how to decide to say no. Things that does not align with your purpose, that contravenes your goals and what you have set as your vision, you need to avoid them. Otherwise, it's going to result into chaos and brings confusion, derailment, distraction to you. So you need to learn how to say no. You don't get entangled in just anything. Like we always say in our local parlance, Mugbomoya, anywhere you see Owambe, you are there. Every event you go, that's going to bring chaos, confusion. And don't forget, everything you commit yourself to is time bound. Okay. The time supposed to spend in improving on your small stats and enlarging the horizon of your thinking, your growth thinking, seeing through the bigger picture or the big picture, you're going to invest into doing irrelevancies, committing yourself into things that will not amount to adding value to your goals and, of course, your life vision and the purpose. So you need to avoid all these things so that you'll be able to now prioritize the opportunity, and the ones that strictly aligns with your purpose, vision, and goals are the ones that you'll pursue eventually. Don't waste your time, your resources, and energy, because what time spent can never be retrieved. Like today is gone. Whatever it is you've done today that does not align with purpose and will not promote the achievement of your goals is a waste. And that's what exactly saying no is all about. The 13 to 1 talks about the priority of your value. You need to highly prioritize your value and stay true to it. Don't compromise your value. Never compromise your value. Your core values, which you have set, having gotten to the point of self-aware, should be part of what will guide your decision taking, not just only information you retrieve from the market trends. Don't forget, sometimes the market has a system, especially word-driven markets trends. They have a way by which they push information out there to deceive people. So how do you discern when the market is misguiding? So all the information you receive, you have to also prioritize them based on your value to know which one aligns with your value and not. And the one that doesn't align, you don't have to build your process on them. Okay, so it's very important. And what are these core values? To some, it might be truth, might be integrity, honesty, resilience, your commitment level, your devotion, your commitment to life. I mean, all of these things, you've done the assignment, you know what these values are. We did a personal assessment on knowing your values well. So all these things, you have to keep yourself reminded about them so that it becomes your priority in making decisions. Okay, then the 14th one, which is second to the last, but not the least, we have innovation as another critical skill that was learned. Okay, if you don't innovate, you are automatically stagnating. I mean, innovation is the fuel that propels progress. Okay. Look at all the things we define as part of the steps towards creativity and innovation. You discover that they are all moving you towards progress. But if you are not engaging in those things, right, what that means is you are either retrogressing or you are stagnant. You are just in one position. Everybody has moved from that position, you are still there, and you think that everybody should understand your situation. No, no matter how busy you may be, you are completely lost in progress. So you don't want to get entangled with stagnancy. You need to commit to developing innovative skills. Everything we discuss, you can go and watch the video again about creativity and innovation as part of what you need to add to the way you work. It must necessarily be integrated into all your actions. Do things differently. Always be different. If you stay different, if you are always bringing out new things, new solutions, new ideas, you will remain relevant. Anything short of that is just a matter of time before you become irrelevant, and people will not invest or commit to people who doesn't add continuous value to them. So that is why you see your colleagues, your contemporaries, who are no longer relevant in the industry is because they fail to continue to improve their innovative skills. So make sure you always come out with new ideas and ways of improving on existing systems. Okay. Then the final one, which is not the least, like I said, these are just 15 things I pull out. I think I'm going to dwell on humility. Humility. Sometimes, because of this commitment to lifelong learning, you might think that you've gotten to a point whereby you are now operating at a higher pedestal. You need to stay humble. You need to embrace humility. Never feel overconfident, because what that means is you are seeing above every other person, which is reality, but yet at the same time, you are not open to diverse perspective. Okay, that will stifle your growth because you will not be able to see either from the low level, medium level, which your horizon is now above, or even something that is above you, because we see in part, we understand in path. Okay, so you can never see it all. There's perfection in reality does not exist. Okay, perfection in reality does not exist. However, you may have a tendency towards perfection. So this is one of the temptations that you always have, because it will be very difficult for you to see beyond yourself. Okay, so don't use yourself as a yardstick to measure everybody. Everyone in your team has a role they need to play and they have something to contribute. No idea is irrelevant. Every idea makes sense and adds up. Don't forget, it's a big picture and everybody has a role to play as different part of the puzzle in order for them to be able to make the big picture. So be open, be humble, and be susceptible to learning new things, even from people who are way below you. Sometimes when I go to work, I always integrate myself and condescend to even people who are at the low level of the ladder. Of the, you see the gatesmen, the security men, you see people that are not even within our class, so you will need to condescend to learn from everyone, because that diversity is going to help you to continue to grow and see from everyone's perspective. Of course, humility also means that you need to remain curious. And curiosity, they say, is a mother of invention. The more curious you are, the more you keep learning, and the more you learn, the more you're going to improve on your creativity skill. And the more you increase on creativity, the more you are going to innovate. So these are the things that, and the more you innovate, of course, the more you are going to accentuate your chances of succeeding. Like I said, success is progressive. And until you have attained your goal, you keep moving. Okay? Until you have achieved your goal, you keep moving. In summary, just three things for me that stood out of everything that we have discussed. Number one is the aspect of your goal setting. Number two has to do with your capacity to continue to respond to changes. Okay, your capacity to be agile, your capacity to always be current. Okay, your capacity to adapt to whatever change happens within the VUCA D, whatever disruption and new innovations bring about. And finally, your commitment to continuous learning, which is lifelong. No knowledge is lost, nothing is a waste, including all of this. You will surely need it as a major leverage in a few months, few weeks, few times. I mean, whatever it is, even if it's not going to turn out to be something that will be a major remuneration for you, but you can be rest assured that it's going to be something that will connect, just like a small hinge that open a large door. As subtle as these things may be, in your CV, in your profile, those certificates you put within your portfolio, it will be something that will connect you to essence, that will land you at the shore of accomplishment of your goals and succeed in your in your pursuits. So I'm going to stop here just to let you know everything that we've narrated and discussed in the past few weeks. So I want you to reflect on this, perhaps because I know this is not exhaustible. There are quite a lot of things that we've said across the 27 now, yeah, 27 sessions. So if there are other things I didn't mention and you want to pull out from your own deck or from your own notes, you can share with us. Thank you. So the floor is open. You can unmute and share what were your key takeaways. I know I've been hearing asking us this repeatedly, but we need to keep ourselves abreast that we're all learning. Yeah, thank you, Favor. So your key takeaways, I just mentioned 15 things. Apparently for each of the sessions, there are key learning, there are key takeaways. So which one has stood out for you? Which one have you been able to relate with apart from all this? No, everyone must talk. Chris, can you talk? I'm not sure whether your network is strong, but if you can unmute.
I can say something while we're waiting for Christopher.
Sorry, Dr. Flash, I didn't get you. Can
I
you come
said
again?
I can make some commentaries while we're waiting for Christopher.
Okay. Yeah, please go ahead.
So yeah, a few days ago we did risk management, and I found that one to be really helpful in a way where, you know, if you have a problem with starting things, I think it's, you know, one of the ways to control anxiety is knowledge. And so, you know, understanding that like risk comes along with, you know, majority of the territories when you're working in any field. Risk is just a part of it. And you gave us some key points to just, you know, always expect it, get ahead of it, see the benefits of it, you know, having calculated risk, and just utilizing. So, you know, if someone is anxious about starting things because of the risk, being able to identify and, you know, just kind of plan out the risk, um, and gather data just helps lower that anxiety because it makes you feel more informed, more confident about the the moves that you're trying to make. So I found that to be like really helpful, um, for me, that tends to shy away from taking risk. Um, and let's see. I have a note here where it says anxiety is not a good way to handle risk. And so you know, that's why I started my talk with mentioning anxiety, because that is a major hindrance to taking risk and getting ahead in business or in whatever field. So I appreciated that session especially. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Flash. And this is good. You see that I didn't really talk about risk because I felt maybe it's just too complex that some of us did not really understand that day. But hearing this feedback, I mean, I see that it's actually a lesson that really went down. So thank you. And when you're talking about risk, one of the greatest risk, in fact, highest risk for that matter, when you're ranking and prioritizing your identified risk that you would deal with at this level, okay, has to do with learning how to say no, okay, being able to identify opportunities and decide on which opportunity to pursue and add to your endeavor. Because this thing can be so subtle. You know, it's just like everything glistering is not gold. So how do you know exactly which one? So it's a question that you need to ask yourself. Among all the things, you know, sometimes you just see a whole lot of opportunities and you're like, everything makes sense. So how do you discern? How do you decide on which one? Because it becomes a risk. When you make a wrong decision, that might be the reason why you have delays, might be the reason why you continually lose time, It might be the reason why you lose a lot of resources. You think you're actually doing purpose, but you will have gotten to the end of the journey to realize that you have wasted your time. It has amounted to nothing. And unfortunately, many people will have wasted the good part of their life, invested in doing what will not end up, helping them to accentuate fulfillment and satisfaction. So this, for me, is a critical risk that you cannot afford to invest in. So that's why the issue of risk management is very, very important. So we're not just talking about risk associated with actions you take when you are working or in your business, when you begin to do your product development or your operations. No, even in your life decisions, deciding on opportunity, what kind of business you need to do, what kind of market you need to move in, where location you need to be placed, as simple as even when you are looking at taking decisions on who to marry, taking decisions on what job to do, where to be located. All of these things have associated risk, which you cannot afford. Everybody, God is now in Canada, so everybody wants to relocate to Canada. Oh, he's now in UK, he's now in US. All of those things you need to discern. They are all opportunity leading, right? But you need to be able to understand how to make right choices. What process, those steps that I explained to you that you need to take in risk management, you need to understand those steps and always evaluate them for each of the risks that you identify. Thank you. Okay, any other person? Who else? Who else? Who else wants to share with us your key takeaways? You have all been part of these sessions. Offer, you want to talk to us? Okay, or by Bolale. Favor, Bero, I know your network is very bad. No one is talking. We'll have to close here.
I'll say a little bit more. I found that the entrepreneurial thinking session was, it left me buzzing. It was fun. It's exciting. Sometimes if you're a creative, you can find yourself spending time dreaming and writing out your dreams, and then you look up and you engage with, the world or people in your immediate circle that may not share your vision, and you kind of get brought back to. Sorry, you kind of get brought back to reality. And you end up putting these things to the side. But I found, just like, the solution is, be an innovator. And if you look at everything um in a way that there's a problem to solve. I remember thinking long ago, and I had to do research on it, and I never did research, but um, newborn babies, there's a point where they begin to shed hair. And so I had thought that it's because babies always laying on their back, and so their head is always on, like, cotton or some sort of fabric, and maybe it's pulling out their hair. And so I said, I think there should be blankets with like a circle kind of in the middle that's silk, a breathable silk that the baby's head can rest in while the rest of the fabric is cotton. So, just like the fun, and I checked on how much it would be to like actually make it and make little hats for like babies. But um, just thinking about any little thing that could be a solution. So I found that like the entrepreneurial thinking class was fun. I think that everyone in this class, just because we gravitated to your program, is of this mindset. And so, yeah, just want to make that comment as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And at that session, remember, part of what I talked about, entrepreneurship mindset, has to do with understanding that you can never grow beyond your employer, either in terms of your excuse me, your remuneration or even your ability to solving problems. So entrepreneurship means that you're trying to carve a way for yourself in determining how you best understand how you're going to solve the problem. I'll give you a very good example. You work in an organization where they have defined processes, structures, and ways of working. And sometimes you're creating solutions, you are developing solutions in product development, and you know that the deployment is not the best way in solving that problem. You are going to be limited because of your pay grade. Sometimes your pay grade might not even be commensurate to that's in terms of remuneration, commensurate to what you are passionate about delivering. I mean, this is what happens many times when you see conflict, ensue, and they say, oh, it's a battle of conflict of interest because you want to just express yourself in a better way that you best understand you're going to solve that problem and achieve a greater result. So these are part of the things that entrepreneurial mindsets will give you, that you want to just seek for ways by which you can solve a problem. And the best way to do it is to do it in your own way and not to be constrained, refined within a structure, right? Also, not just in terms of remuneration and financial value, in terms of the way you are going to expand your opportunity. The scalability matter we talked about is more in entrepreneurship than you just seeking for paid employment, because you can't scale as an individual or even your career. You can't scale beyond the limit of the organization. It's just like you working, let me think about a low grade tech company. I can't remember any in my head at the moment, but even those that are competitive, let's say you're working with Lenovo, right? You can't be thinking Apple inside Lenovo structure. It's not going to work, right? Because the system, the structure, the process in Lenovo is Lenovo, and that's what makes Lenovo brand Lenovo. But if your thinking has to be competitive to Apple, you have to step out of Lenovo to establish, just like what DeepSeek AI did with ChatGPT, right? So you have to move out of that structure, establish your own. And if you still stay back because of the fear and the risk of the unknown, uncertainty, if you stay there and you're now trying to create something competitive within that same structure, then they will tell you there's a conflict of interest, or they might even say that it's an insubordination. I mean, a whole lot of things can come up. So that's what entrepreneurship grit is going to give you. Think about how you want to solve problem. Once you've identified the solution, I mean the problem, your solution, then be audacious enough for you to start taking a decision with a small start. Like I mentioned, start small, build something for yourself, invest more, and then you see that the sky is the beginning of your limits. Okay, I'm looking forward to more feedback, but if no one is saying anything, we'll stop here. Favor, you can go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, clearly.
So I want to talk about productivity. I've always said to myself, favor, don't sound like you're intelligent, or don't sound like you have great ideas, or don't sound like you know a lot of things. Let it be that you really do. That means you're intelligent, you're smart, and you're well versed in so many things. Bringing it into productivity, sometimes you always feel like you're busy. Someone calls you, I'm busy, I'm doing something, but it's different from being productive. And most times we've been told, I don't know if it's just me, but I just feel that we have this mindset that when we have a whole lot of things that we're pursuing, it makes us productive. But the class in productivity taught me that it's not really about how many things that you have at a time. If it's not in line with your value or growth, then it doesn't make any sense. You're just filling up your time with activities. And one thing I've told myself that I'm going to do is to have results. Being able to monitor what I set out to do has been a problem for me personally. But I knew that I had this hunger somewhere inside of me that I want to walk past just, speaking about my goals or ideas. I got tired of speaking about them or sounding smart about them, but getting to the point where I'm seeing the result, where I'm able to um, enjoy the process, monitor it. It's not that I have it all figured out, but it's a decision. I think it all begins with a decision. It's a decision I've made, and I'm finding out ways to get to that, which this class is one of it. So that's my share.
Oh, great, great. Bringing up the issue of productivity again. Awesome. I mean, we've talked about a lot of things. I'm just hoping that you'll be able to digest all these things. You know, productivity is more about how you maximize efficiency. Okay. And, when you're talking about efficiency, right, it's not about the quantity, but the quality of your output. Like they used to say that Ishe Kolo, I don't know if you understand that, right? It's not what effort, it's not even how much of what is done that matters, but the quality of the outcome. If you have done little thing, what's the quality than if you have done so many things with just small quality? Sometimes people spend 8 hours working in a day, and at the end of the day, they have nothing to show for it. And someone can just work 1 hour and have a whole lot of. So we're talking about the smart ways by which you work, and not the hard way by which you work. Not those strenuous. When someone is saying, "I'm hustling," I hate that word. It should never be in anybody's dictionary. Okay, I mean, that should never be part of your trajectory where you think you need to hustle. You need to get yourself mixed up with the bustling, you know, in the marketplace. No, it's not about competition. It's about you setting your goals, prioritizing, things, and then know specifically through decision, process of decision making, what kind of opportunity you want to seize. And when you think that there's no opportunity, you lay low, commit yourself to learning, and then wait till when opportunity surfaces, and then I mean, that is how to live life. For everyone, you can take study, everyone who has risen above all their contemporaries, top CEOs, Fortune 500, this is the kind of ways by which they think and live. This is the way they think and live. So thank you for bringing back to memory as well. You need to be efficient in order for you to achieve more, and not necessarily because you are spending more time, right? Because more does not mean more time. It just means that you are working smarter, leveraging technology and every other thing that I mentioned to you that can improve on your productivity. And of course, not procrastinating or getting distracted in time. So that also brings us to how you manage your time, what to do, which is just a repeat of everything we have been talking about. Don't get entangled in doing things that has nothing to do with. It's just a waste of time. Thank you. Okay. I think we'll stop here. Thank you everyone for showing up, and thanks for this review. We'll move to the T factors tomorrow, and then we'll see how we roll with it. Okay. Have a wonderful week ahead. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Welcome.